Minecraft's new shelf block makes it possible to build a fully functional and easy to build slot machine. This is actually playable. You just throw in a diamond or some other payment and you have a chance of winning more diamonds. The redstone isn't even complicated and these work on Bedrock and Java Edition. So I got a couple different designs for you. This is the main one that's actually playable. You can just throw in a diamond there and then it'll randomly roll through, and depending on how many of those sevens you put in there, that, changes your odds on whether you'll win or not. And then of course you can change your output to be either normal diamonds or diamond blocks, or you can even have like a mix of the both so that you get a randomized loot pool. So you can be very nice with this and give people lots and lots of diamonds and make them win very often, or you can be very mean about it and you can only put 2 sevens in there. That way they just never win and you can build a scam casino. But this right here is the tiniest version that you can like possibly build right here, and this is just basically a space filler little decoration, and you can actually play it and roll it, but you won't win anything. Now this one does have an observer clock on it, so if you don't want that in your world, then you'll need to add on a little bit of a comparator clock to the back side of it. Not quite ideal, but it does give you the same basic functional system. And then I have a modification of this system that just adds an additional timer to the top of it, and that makes it so that this system right here actually rolls the items twice like a normal slot machine kind of would, and we actually won it. That's crazy. So all three of these little builds right here are just kind of space fillers, but this one right here has the actual winning component to it, the item filter to only accept diamond payments. Now the only real issue with this one is that you can break it if you throw in multiple diamonds at a time. So maybe it would be a good idea to use a trap chest right here. That way people only put in 1 diamond and they don't break the system. It's not a real casino if you're not scamming people. And of course down below we have the winnings chest, and I've played these things so many times I might be having an addiction because of this. Now you'll notice that in order to actually win and get your money from this thing, you do have to play again. So you have to technically play twice to win once. But that's fine. It's all part of the psychological torment to get people addicted to playing your Minecraft minigame. But as you see, that time we got a diamond block, so it was worth it. And you know what? We may as well just keep playing because we got 2 out of 3 sevens. So the mechanics of this are actually really simple. We're using banners as the winning item right here. And whenever there is 3 banners in this hopper right here, as you can see, that is going to activate a little bit of redstone and shoot out one of the prize blocks. So that's why you have to play again in order to detect the win. And that's because you can't actually read the items directly from the shelf block. No matter how many items are in each slot or what type of items they are, they always give out the same predetermined signal strength. And then we're just draining the items out of our shelf right here and cycling back around. We have 2 droppers to give ourselves quite a bit of randomization. Now you'll notice that there is multiple sevens. There is a lot of sevens in this system, and even with this many, we have a pretty low chance of actually winning and getting 3 in a row. Of course, I'll go over all the percentages and chances during the tutorial. And speaking of which, if you like these kind of Minecraft builds, then drop a like, share around the video, and subscribe for more Minecraft tutorials. But let's hop into the build. So we're going to start building with the ultra basic, just kind of decorational slot machine, and then we'll upgrade this a little bit. And then later on, I'll show you how to build this version that's actually playable. So to build this, you're going to need everything in my inventory right here. That includes 5 of whatever item you want to be the winning item. If that's something that can stack together like banners or diamonds, then make sure to name them all something different. That way they don't stack together. You also need 4 other dud items that aren't your win. So this is where your shelf is actually going to be going for the slot machine. We need a couple blocks next to that and a button, and then that's just going to be going up in this general shape right here. So we need 2 redstone on top, 2 redstone on the bottom, and then a redstone torch in this exact layout. Now we need to go behind the shelf right here on this block, place a dropper facing upwards, and then we need a hopper facing into the back of that shelf and a hopper facing into the front of that dropper. So now go ahead and break out this block right here. We need an observer facing towards that, break out the other block, and we need another observer right here. That's going to start clicking. Now what you want to do is throw in just 3 of your random items to fill up the shelf. Go ahead and put 2 filler items into these back slots, and then just throw a bunch of other stuff into this little dropper right here, and you're pretty much good to go. You can tweak the ratio to add more winning items or more dud items, but every time you press that button, it should go ahead and cycle through all 3 of them. Now obviously just having 2 observers like this isn't great for peripheral lag. So to get rid of these on Bedrock Edition and just break those out, we can put in ourselves a redstone torch right there. Mine out a couple more blocks. We just need in a comparator right here on subtract mode, and then 4 pieces of redstone dust in a line like this, and then 1 more solid block right there. And then that is going to let you actually have this system work with a clock, but not need those observers. And if you want to add in a note block for some nice sounds, you can either add it like right here, or you can add it right here on this comparator. And then of course you can tune those. And now it sounds a little bit nicer every time you play it. Now to get rid of those ugly observers on Java Edition, what you're going to want to do is take a 4-tick repeater out of that lower redstone line, put that into a block, and then you just need a sticky piston facing downwards to move that observer clock. This is the best method I could find. So the fancy system that actually cycles twice like this is really easy. It's basically the exact same thing I just showed you how to build with the comparator clock on the bottom, but now we're actually going to move that button to the right side right here. That's going to go onto a redstone dust that's on top of a slab. It's also going to be going up on top of your hopper with your redstone torch on the side like this. And then that's just going to loop around in a big old line of repeaters and then looping back around. So basically how this works is it just powers up like this, and that cycles the items twice through. So you should be able to build this just by looking at it. It's pretty simple. And if you're playing on Java Edition and you want the system with the nice double cycle, then of course you're going to need to build the version that has like the sticky piston right here. And then we're going to take our button out this side, same little redstone system. We need 3 4-tick repeaters right here, and then we're going to take that up by a block, 2 more repeaters to avoid our lower piston. And this actually works perfectly fine, even with the quasi connectivity, which is kind of surprising. And now for how to build the nice playable system. We actually won. That's crazy. So you're going to need everything inside of this double chest right here. That includes 9 of your winning banners, and these do have to be banners or some other item that's stacked to 16. You're also going to need 8 of the other dud items. These should all just be regular stackable items that stack to 64. You're also going to need 3 other filler items that stack to 16, like signs or snowballs, a couple other random filler items. You'll also need 18 diamonds and some more filler items for your item filter to accept payment. Now to actually make the lovely banners, you'll need to get yourself some white banners right here. I would be using red dye for this. You want to do the little right slash right here, then click on this one right here for the kind of top of the 7. And now we're going to get ourselves some white dye, and we're going to do the outline of it. And as you see, that gives you a pretty decent little 7. Now, if you just put this into the crafting grid with some more banners, that's essentially just going to copy and duplicate these things for you. Now, all these banners are going to stack together, which we cannot have for our machine. So each one of these should have a different name on there. So just give them any good old name. It doesn't really matter what they are. And you're going to want at least 8 of these banners. So it's quite the sizable build. It is 3 blocks wide. It is also 8 blocks long. That includes the front where you actually throw in your money. It's going to be 3 blocks above the ground and then 4 blocks below the ground. And I mined out a little bit extra here on the side so that we can actually see what we're doing. So this right here is where you actually throw in your money, and then you'll be able to see into the build, and that is the exact location of your slot machine. So we're going to start with the item filter on the front of the build. So we need to crouch and place in a hopper facing to the side right there. Another one facing to the side. Drop down. We need our diamond collection chest right here. We're also going to put another hopper into the side of that chest. Now we need a solid block right here. Redstone torch on the side of it. Another solid block right there, and 1 more up, and then another one off the side of that hopper for this general shape. So now we need a comparator right here and 2 redstone dust, and then a repeater right here to build up our basic item filter. We're going to go ahead and put 18 diamonds into the front of this. You can use any item you want, but this is what people will actually be paying to use the machine. And now going out from here, we're going to have ourselves a 3-tick repeater. This is going to be going into a block, and we need 3 more blocks in this area like this. Redstone dust right in the middle of that. So now we're going to have a 1-tick repeater right here, a 4-tick repeater right there, another 4 ticks, and a 2-tick just like that. You want a solid block in front of these 2, and then just a line of 3 redstone dust going up. We need a slab right here, a block, and then another slab, and this is just going to be a little bit of a redstone staircase going up. We'll come back to that in a second. We're going to put in the item elevator for our slot machine, so just place in a solid block right here for a second. We need 2 droppers facing straight upwards like so. Remove that temporary block. We need a hopper facing into the side of that shelf, and now flip around to this side. The bottom hopper should be facing into the bottom dropper, and then we need another hopper just facing into this block right here. So that's how all that should be built. Now we're going to come back down to to this section over here, we need in ourselves a couple of slabs right here going into a solid block. So that's just going to be a standard repeater, a comparator on subtract mode with a little red light on, and then we just need in a couple of slabs in these 3 locations like so, and 3 pieces of redstone dust, and that should be running into your very bottom dropper right there. So if we get ourselves a temporary lever and we flick that real quick, that should activate our comparator clock, as you can see there, and all of our redstone lights up. So now to finish this up, we're going to go ahead and put in 4 slabs at the very bottom right here. We need 3 repeaters, and 2 of these are on 4 ticks. The last one is on 2 ticks. Redstone dust right there, solid block, and then a redstone torch to lock our lower hopper. And then we're just going to get ourselves in another slab right here, and 2 more slabs to the side of it. We're going to need a 1 tick repeater on both of these. Let's go ahead and get in a solid block in front of that repeater right there, and then our second redstone torch to lock that one. And now let's flip around to this side. So we need another solid block in front of that repeater, slab, and then another solid block, 1 more piece of redstone dust, and 1 more repeater just to lock that hopper. And that's actually all the logic done. Now for the wind detection circuit, we just need a slab right there, a block right there, get in yourself a comparator in there, and then a piece of redstone dust, a slab right here, another redstone dust, and then we need 2 droppers on the front of it right here. And this is going to activate once there is a signal strength of 2, which will only happen once you have 3 banners and 3 filler items inside of this hopper. Make sure that you have a solid block in front of that comparator right there, otherwise it's not going to work. And a quick note, if you're building this on Java, you will need to tweak the redstone clock of it down here. So instead of having the comparator clock right here, what you want to do is just have a 2-tick repeater that's going to be going into a sticky piston with your observer clock right here. Gotta have that observer clock again because of the quasi connectivity activating and stopping your droppers from firing. And you also need to make sure that this repeater right here is on 4 ticks, and this one is also on 4 ticks. All the other timings are the same. But if we go ahead and throw a diamond in there, as you can see, this system does actually work perfectly fine. Also, if you want an optional indicator light on the front of your slot machine to tell you when it's out of rewards, then all you need is a comparator right here going into a block of a redstone lamp. So now we just need to configure the system with all of our items. So we're going to start by putting in 3 random items into the top hopper right here. That's going to drain into your slot right there. And now we're just going to go ahead and put 2 filler items on the back 2 slots right here. These are never going to come through the system. They just kind of fill the space. And now just go ahead and throw 9 other items into the top dropper and then some items into the lower dropper. You want to make sure there's at least 2 items in this lower dropper. That way you don't hear any clicking. And now we're going to go ahead and put ourselves 3 snowballs and the final 2 slots of this hopper right here. So you'll need a total of 17 items in this little loop right here. That should be 8 of your winning 7 banners and then 9 of your stackable dud items. And I can see I just have a couple of them in here. So the 2 filler items don't count towards that total, by the way. Those are just fillers. And then we got a bunch of items in there and a bunch of items down here. You're also going to end up with 1 item in this lower hopper, just in the normal use of the system. And then there should never be any items in here besides your 3 filler snowballs or your signs or any item that stacks to 16. And then there's always going to be 3 items in your top shelf. You also need to configure your top droppers as well. So I would put some diamonds in there and maybe even some diamond blocks as well. Now you can tweak the ratio of this. This is a 1 in 9 chance of winning a diamond block, but you can make it a 50% chance of winning a diamond block, or really whatever you want to do. And you can put any winning item in there that you want. Now you'll also need to put 1 item in the front dropper as well. That way the first win actually shoots out an item. Now, of course, when you actually go to decorate this thing, you're probably going to build up with some blocks on every side of it. And then I would recommend just like a painting on the front of this. That way you can't just open up the dropper and steal from it. And now we can actually go ahead and play the system, and it should just work. So we throw in a diamond. Those 3 get drained out. We get a win, of course. 3 more items come in. And then if we throw in another one, we're going to get another win. And we got a diamond block this time. So let's try that and look at the hoppers. So if we throw in an item right there, you should see the 3 items drain in and then drain out. That gives us enough time to actually detect if it's 3 banners in there. Now, when it comes to the ratio of win versus loss items, I did a little bit of testing. And if you have a 1 in 9 chance of winning a diamond block, you need 13 win items to 2 2 dud items in order for the person to actually make a profit. But having a 7-to-6 ratio will give you about 11 wins every 60 plays, which is still quite a bit of profit for the house, but it's enough to actually make it somewhat interesting and, you know, give you a little bit of money every now and again for the player. Now, you could also significantly lower the amount of win items in there, drastically decreasing the odds and chances of a win, but then maybe you could do like netherite blocks, or you could do a shulker box full of a various amount of goodies. You could even do a whole lineup of these different things. That way there is different incentives and different rewards for the 1 diamond entry fee. Now, if you want to get really fancy with it, you could even charge a diamond block entry fee. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of ways to actually customize this system with the loot tables, with the payment options, and also with the percentage chance of a win. If you want to add some flair to your machine, there's a couple different places that you can add in some note blocks. I would add in one right here and then tune that to make it sound nice. You can also add in another one right here, and this is going to be your win note block basically. And then really you can just kind of sprinkle these in around wherever. So you can have another one like right here, for example. You could even replace this block with something nice sounding. And you can even have another note block down here in the floor if you wanted to. So gold blocks sound pretty nice, but so do packed ice. And you'll probably also want to fill in the block right here. That way you can actually have a nice looking front of this thing that will activate your shelf, but that's fine. So let me know how many diamonds you make from this, or maybe you're just building it in a single player world because you're lonely. Either way, drop a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe for more Minecraft tutorials, and thank you for watching.